and welcome to today's presentation on an introduction to Project Control, the heart of our Project Suite solution. Project Suite allows you to link every aspect of your business with a complete project management solution. This solution includes a project control module, a web-based timesheet, a resource planning tool, a professional invoicing module, and a set of web reports that are built out of the box.
Now we're going to look at our project transactions and how those transactions flow into our system via timesheets, expense reports, payables, receivables, and we'll also look a little bit at how those projects are being created. So again, on our ING migration project, I'm going to go to our first level, our sub-level 2, and our department. Looking into this, we can see that all these transactions are there within this project sub-level. We can easily drill back into each of these transactions to see where they originated from. Regular GP drill down feature, and I can also drill down back into the actual distribution of each of these lines in my timesheet. Looking a little bit at how this project is set up, we can see, for instance, here that this project was coded to by Bob. His 16 hours for a cost of $800 and a charge-out rate of 1,008. So looking at the way this project was set up, we can see that in our project card we hold the information of the project name, the customer, the department that this one is associated to. We have several reporting fields here. We have a market, a budget type, and territory, which can all be used to report on different parameters of our projects. Looking at our revenue types, we have 7 different revenue recognition types. If we're looking at this particular one here, which is a time and material project, revenue will be recognized at the transactions. It's possible to capture our fringe markup on the project. We can capture an overhead percentage. These are all things that we can have parameters for and have these costs allocated to the project. We also have within each project the ability to decide what kind of activities are allowed to code. People will be allowed to code for this particular project. So out of all of my pool of different activities and category types for expenses, these are the ones that are restricted for this particular project. Within each sub-level, I can decide how this project or this phase of the project will be managed versus the entire project. So on each phase I can have another different group of categories that would be giving the staff different codifications. I have my invoicing here where I can actually add my rate cards, and these rates are individual to each sub-level. For my rate cards, this is where I explained before how I manage my charge-out rates. So for this standard rate card, if I look at this one here, I can see that each resource here is being specified and along with their invoicing unit rate. In this case, we have resource 001 that has a charge-out rate of $112, but also when resource 1 works on a specific task, my charge-out rate changes. So I can do a charge-out rate for a class, so that's a grouping of resources. So I can classify my staff between these between the different groups. So I can actually allocate a charge-out rate for the entire class, for the resource, or when this particular resource is working on a specific activity, another rate. So quite flexible in terms of my rate cards here. We also have the possibility of changing the cost of the resource for a particular activity. So I can say that whenever my resource works on this particular activity, not only does the charge-out rate change, but also does the rate that they that they get costed out. I can also decide that I'm going to override my cost to the payroll as well. So on the underneath paid here, if I say that this is going to be paid to the employee as well, this would override my payroll code to say that this employee will now be paid a different rate for this particular activity. So here we're going to see our project, JOVACO's project module, and its integration with the core modules of GP, such as financials, SOP, POP, receivables, and payables. So for our general ledger, we can have in a transaction journal entry, we have an extra line here that is available for you to map out your projects. So whether that be an expense or a revenue line, we can go ahead here and choose our project, how that breaks down into the different sub-levels, and then pick a cost, and that even generates one side of the entry. So that's for our general ledger transactions. On our project purchase orders, again we have our project line. So this works exactly as the GP purchase order window. You would select your purchase order, select your vendor, and then the last part would be to allocate this to a project. As in the GP purchase order window, you can actually receive or invoice. Same thing we do as a regular GPPO, except that in here we have the project allocation. For our sales order module, we can look at a transaction, allocate the project through our allocate project window that opens up right from the SOP window here. So we can now allocate these amounts to one or multiple projects. In our payables window, same thing here. We have our regular payables here and the allocate to project window that opens up. And in this case, we can see that it was allocated to actually the same project but different sub-levels. So there's no limitation here. You can allocate to as many project or different sub-levels as you want. We even have a items transfer. So if you have inventoried items that you would like to receive an inventory and then transfer back to a project, we have our items transfer to project where we can allocate a project number on this item transfer screen. So it's full integration from the JOVACO Project Suite modules.